Hey guys!
Welcome to the King of Iron Fist Tournament 7.
Yes, I am back with another episode of Slipping Out, and of course in this one we're going to be taking a closer look at Tekken 7. And this one was selected as one of the choices by my patron Mark of the Wolves, so I certainly hope you enjoy this episode. First of all, in this one we're going to be taking a quick look at some of the fight entrance sequences for the characters, and as you can see the entrances are all done pretty much in the centre of the stage, with the opposing fighter missing from the sequence. Note how Nina resets her position for when the camera angle changes. Let's also just take a look at the amount of detail on the fighters, which is pretty amazing. You can even read the writing on the grenade that Nina has attached to her leg. Whilst taking a look at Gygus, I was curious to know whether he has a face underneath his mask, and I know Mark was too. It turns out he doesn't, which is understandable as you can never remove his mask even in the character customization menu. Taking a look inside Nina's head can be quite scary at first, but this is pretty standard of what we see from inside character models these days. We can also find that underneath her hair, she is bald, which again goes back to the character customization menu and being able to change hairstyles. Unfortunately, I don't have long to make these videos, so I do have to skip through to fit everything in. So let's move on to some of the stages, starting with the Mishima Dojo. Inside, like a lot of the other stages, there isn't too much that can't be seen from the fighting section. However, if we fly outside, there is one thing that I wanted to show you, and it's about the moon. In some games we've seen them fully 3D, but here it's just a curved texture that makes it look 3D. Not that you would ever know from looking from the inside of the stage itself. The stage Forgotten Realm has what's called a floor break, and I'm sure even if you haven't played Tekken 7, I don't really need to describe what that is, it does kind of speak for itself. However, I am going to show you what it looks like from different angles to show you how they work, with loading the separate parts of the stage up as we fall through them. Jungle Outpost was certainly one of my favourite stages to explore. The amount of detail that's gone into the scenery is astonishing, and literally I could have made a video about this stage on its own. Take a look at this anaconda for instance. Inside its mouth it even has the glottis. There's an incredible amount of detail out here that most players would never get to see. One main part of the scenery I was curious to check out was the river that runs away from the map. If I take the camera way up into the sky, you do get a rough idea of how this was done. Imagine now that the camera was set to a speed of 0. That would mean that the camera couldn't move at all. The camera speed you're seeing on your screen right now is set to a speed of 1. This is how fast it moves at 1. So let's take a journey now to the edge of the skybox where there is nothing beyond it but darkness. And I'm going to fly the camera in towards the stage from the edge of the skybox. And to do this I set the camera at 1,000 times the speed you just saw it moving. I'm not going to cut the video at this point, and this gives you a rough idea of just how far away the skybox is from the stage. How insane is that? The skybox is huge for such a small stage. Take a look at this screenshot I took from way outside. I've circled the stage so it makes it a little easier to see. Crazy stuff. On the stage Arctic Snowfall, I couldn't help but notice the writing on the top of this rocket. It is hard to see what it says because it's very pixelated, but we can just about see that there are numbers and Roman numerals split into sections. Very strange, and I'm not entirely sure why this would be. It would be great to find out. Over the time I've been making these episodes, we've found a lot of unseen and hidden secrets, but this has now got to be up there with the best of them, and possibly my new favourite. Check it out, the developers actually modelled a pilot for the fighter jets that we see flying around the stage, even though you'd never be able to see them inside the cockpit, and not only that, they do have a little cockpit instrument gauge. albeit it would be very hard to read anything from it, but it's just amazing that it's here in the first place. And this is why I love making these episodes, to find little details like this in games that I can share with you guys that otherwise we'd never know exist. It is awesome. Alright, so one of the things Mark of the Wolves wanted me to take a closer look at during this episode is the spectators who we can see around the edges of the stage, watching the fights. And there is no better example of this than on this stage, because here, all in one section, we have each type of spectator we can find. The full 3D models, the 2D animated sprites, and then the static 2D sprites. And I can even show you the same spectator design in all three types. So let's take this chap with the hat and glasses. There he was in his full 3D form. Then he's got the 2D animated, and then further back still we have the 2D static. And this is pretty much how most of the other stage spectators are too. Devil's Pit is one of the only stages in the game that has a transition to a separate part of the stage for the second round. Here's how it works. The other stage that has this type of transition is the Mishima building, but first I wanted to show you how the stage design in round 1 works. If we go way up high, we can see that above this blacked out fog, this is where the magic takes place, because it's actually the surrounding scenery that's moving down, not the lift itself moving up. Now for the transition. This is what you would normally see, so let's take a look at it from another angle, and if you were quick enough you may notice a slight blackout of the screen. In fact, it's so slight it's 6/100ths of a second, so I slowed the footage down so you could see exactly when it happens. Going back to the amazing amount of detail for absolutely no reason in this game, check out the interior of this helicopter we see making moves above the G-Corp helipad. I had to take a snapshot of it because the pilot likes to fly about a lot, but the devs even give the pilot a joystick and a better instrument panel than the fighter jet. Seriously, the amount of unseen details in this game is awesome. Both the Kinder Gym stage and Geometric Plane were quite easy to film because there is nothing outside that you can't see from moving around inside the fighting area. Alright, so that brings me nicely onto Infinite Azure. For anyone who hasn't played this game, this stage is infinite, as you probably guessed by the name. You can walk and never get to the surrounding mountains. So I'm now going to briefly try to show you how this works, and I'm no game designer, I just love exploring games, and I've ended up having to re-record this part several times because I can't find the right way to explain how it works. So hopefully some of my game developer friends out there can help me out by explaining this one in the comments. But from what I can tell very simply is the fighters are always kept towards the centre of the stage by the way the camera rotates around when we're walking. So even though it looks like you're moving in one direction, you're not. You're walking more or less on the spot, and you can see from the video how this is happening from a zoomed out view. Sadly, we have come to the end of another episode. I hope you enjoyed this one, Mark of the Wolves. Thank you so much for your contributions to the channel, and to all of you out there, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to come and join me on all the usual social media sites that can be found in the description for extra info on Slippy Slides, or again, if you just want to chat, come along. But for now, and as always, until the next video, take care guys.